Our next guest is a candidate for Minnesota State Senate District 4. Edwin Hahn is going to be running against Kent Eakin. Kent Eakin is a longtime state senator in Minnesota. And Edwin Hahn is, by the way, Kent Eakin a Democrat, Edwin Hahn a Republican. Ed, nice to have you on the show. How are you, sir?
Thank you so much, Scott, for having me. Hey, what's going on with these gas prices?
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
I think I've seen a 40 cent increase in the last month. I looked at the other day, it was $3.09. Now it's $3.49 here in Moorhead.
Well, I think it's what happens when you say, we're not all that concerned about American energy. Who cares? Let's have OPEC do it. We can't control it. It's a world market. This is totally the policy. There are federal lands in North Dakota that are off limits to drilling right now, which have impacts onto private land because of the President of the United States. So that's what's going on. And I don't know, what does Minnesota charge for a gas tax, Edwin?
Oh, it's up there. It's definitely more than North Dakota. I'm not sure what it's at right now. But that's exactly what I want to talk about, is the difference between the policies of Republicans and Democrats, or DFLers, as we might call here in Minnesota. And so you're seeing the actual fruit of the DFL policies in Minnesota and across the nation. Supply chain shortages. We got increased gas prices, inflation. We're having issues. We're finding food in the grocery store. Beef prices through the roof. I saw, $25 a pound for some beef here. Not in locally, but around the U.S. It's happening.
And just on the gas thing, one idea, I saw that a Democratic senator, forget which one it was, the Sheldon Whitehouse, I can't remember, doesn't matter, but it was a Democratic senator, U.S. senator, that was asking the Biden administration to waive the federal gasoline tax, until January of 2023. Maybe Kent Eakin would do the same thing. That'd be something for you to maybe suggest that he do in Minnesota. If Democrats in Congress are doing this, he might as well do it here, right? Give Minnesotans some relief, Edwin?
I tell you what, I think...
We lost you there for a second. I heard you say, I tell you what. I don't have a bad connection with Edwin there.
Still there?
Oh, now I hear you. Yeah. You said, I tell you what. That's where we lost you on the suggestion.
I tell you what, that's a great idea. Giving us some tax relief when it comes to gas, when it comes to fuel, because fuel prices, diesel fuel prices, are up 40% over last year. In some areas, the average price is over $4 a gallon for diesel. That impacts the farmers. It impacts your bottom line. If you're out there working the fields, running your equipment, we got supply shortages. Farmers are having a hard time finding parts now for their equipment because of all the DFL policies that shut us down, that locked us down, insanity that happened during this whole COVID fear-based mongering. Also, fertilizer prices. Fertilizer prices are up 300% because of these nonsense DFL policies that shut down our economy and hamstringed supply chain, hamstringed transportation.
No, all good points. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the skill set you would bring to this position if you're lucky enough to get the nomination and lucky enough to knock off the Democratic incumbent.
Well, the biggest thing is, I'm a fighter. I'm a freedom fighter. And you've seen some of the work of my labor here, or some of the community development work we've done the last 2 years, and particularly running for state house, but also contesting the 2020 election. So we will fight for our constitutional rights. We will fight for what is upright, true, honest, just, and American. America is not a racist nation. I'm a minority, but I refuse to play the victim card or the race card. I refuse to allow America to become a racist nation. That's the path that this is going down with some of these Democrat CRT policies and some of these other communist tyrannical mandates that they push down from up top. So really, I'm an organizer. I'm a freedom fighter. And what I believe we've been called to do is take back our authority as people, take back our authority. We've kind of relinquished it. We've written, in a sense, a blank check and signed it. We've handed off to these higher authorities, we might call it, elected officials, as well as judges and the like. And we've got to take some of that back. So helping the people regain their authority. Where has Kent Eakin been in the last 2 years when it comes to vaccine mandates, when it comes to shutting down your local business, your convenience store because of the pandemic? Where has Kent Eakin been when it comes to taking a stand for Clay County being a Second Amendment sanctuary, protecting your right to bear arms? So those are the questions I have for the people.
talk about the differences between you and Ken Eakin. If you represent Minnesota's 4th district in the state Senate, the stark differences, the issues that you would take on that you don't believe he's done enough justice towards, what would they be?
Well, it's really some of the ones I just mentioned. So all these ridiculous government mandates for related to vaccines and any kind of health related freedom, any kind of forced medical procedure, including masks on our kids. There hasn't, he hasn't been out there, he hasn't been speaking up. It's not enough to just, hey, I'll relinquish my vote or I'll pass off and maybe vote on this one thing, this one time to end the emergency powers, despite all my repeated times of voting for emergency powers. We have to have folks in our community, because really what Kent or anyone this seat is a representative for the community. He represents the people, and his responsibility is to protect the rights of the people and to be a voice in St. Paul, but also be an example and to lead by example. So where has he been? Has he been creating a mobilization among Clay County residents to help push back against government mandates? Has he been speaking at school board meetings? Has he been giving some advice to parents as far as, what to do about tyrannical school boards? I'm not seeing any of that. And that's what we're bringing to the table. It's for the people, by the people, and it's complete to empower the people. And so on top of the responsibilities of being down in St. Paul, you should also be in the community fighting for the people.
I'm not sure a Democrat of the state Senate has the power to divert from the opinions of the dear leader Tim Walz, because even though politically probably would be smart in Northwest Minnesota, he and Paul Marquardt and other Democrats just haven't done it. So I have to think there's a little bit of a lock there on what they're able to do.
Can I speak to that?
Yeah, quickly, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm talking about here, is that Kent, he might be a nice guy. He might have some of what you might believe in, but the political atmosphere has changed, and the DFL that you thought of 20 years ago left you behind. And the party that Kent is aligned with no longer supports your values. It doesn't carry the same ideologies that you have: massive spending, defunding the police, government lockdowns, vaccine and health passports, so you can go to restaurants and businesses. So he's aligned with that ideology, and voting for him is going to continue to support that mechanism. So, and also for those farmers out there, we don't have Colin Peterson as chair of the Ag Committee anymore. So there's absolutely no reason to be voting DFL anymore.
Yeah, Colin certainly had a lock on that spot, mainly because he was a pro-life Democrat, but also really had the back of farmers for years, and that made him undefeated for a long string there until the winds changed in Northwest Minnesota, and they certainly have. Less than a minute left. What's an issue that we don't hear enough about in the media that you're hearing about from people in your district who are very concerned? Give me an issue that needs to get some more attention in 30 seconds or less.
Well, I would say, what's happening up here in Canada? What's happening with the truckers? Are we seeing? We're not seeing that whole lot of that being put down in the media, but that is the end result of these DFL policies. They're tyrannical government bloating that results in this kind of dictatorship, where you've got now the police becoming violent against peaceful protesters, horses stomping on peaceful protesters and trampling them because you've empowered government too much. You've given up too much authority, too much power, too much money to this government in Canada. And Trudeau is a great example of that. And if we don't stop that now, if we don't stop voting for DFL and get freedom-loving patriots into office, this is what the U.S. is going to look like.
District 4 State Senate candidate Edwin Hahn. Thank you, Edwin. We'll talk again soon.